How you doing, how you doing, how you doing? Bree here with Ginger in the Desert Creations, coming back at you with another painting. Now I'm going to be trying to do something that I have planned as a series. I'm going to be making what I want to call Bloodstone. So Beaky and Bloodstone? Better not tempt fate. And congratulations to the one person that knows what I'm talking about. But seriously, I'm going to be putting together some combinations that maybe are a little hazardous to put together because either we're going to end up with something that looks cool under high gloss, it's Christmas, mud, possibly Freddy Krueger, but let's not think too much about that one. Anyway, I'm going to go change because I can't paint my uniform, and then we'll go and paint. Here we go, Bloodstone. We're going to be doing this with Chroma Molten Metals Emerald Green, Chroma Molten Metals Ruby Red, just because I love a little sparkle sparkle. We've got Marte Phthalo Green, Marte Yellow Green, Marte Monastral Green, Marte Vermillion, ooh, that one almost escaped, and Marte Crimson. Okay, the only color that has any silicone in it is going to be the Ruby Red. That is going to be our swipe color. What I'm intending to do is to take all the colors apparently very slowly. I'm going to take the colors and I'm going to try basically walking them up and down the color wheel so as to try not to create mud. So we'll see how many wanders back and forth along the color wheel that we get doing this. We got here is a 12-inch wood round. I believe the depth is 0.09, which I can verify for you is definitely too thin because when I got them, they were warped. And call me an idiot, but I decided to try to fix them by gluing them together because I wanted a cheap foundation to kind of play around with. And you can get this for, I think it increases the cost to about $3.40 if you glue them together. So I have glued the wood rounds together, left them weighted overnight, and then painted with one coat of white gesso. So here we go. Gonna pour our cup. What I'm gonna do is, as I said, I'm gonna walk up and down the color wheel, trying not to create mud, and then I'm going to do a sort of ribbon pour along here. And then I'm gonna take our ruby red swipe color and I'm gonna do a swipe sort of in grain strips, hopefully mimicking, of course, Bloodstone. So let's go for that. I'm also going to try to use a lot of this phthalo green color just because I think that it is the most prominent color in a nice dark green Bloodstone. Pouring pretty much down the side of the cup to keep mixing to a more of a minimum. Probably looks like I might get one pass up and one pass down. If you have any idea what I'm talking about, please let me know. Drop my spoon. Now with a 12-inch round, should need somewhere around 5 ounces of paint. This cup is about 4 ounces. I know that we should need about 5 ounces of paint because 12 by 12 is 144, and you divide it from anywhere between 125, no, from between 25 and 30, and that gives you an idea of the ounces, because 28.3 something or other is how many grams are in an ounce. So I'm kind of hoping to have a band of the red sitting in the middle of our stone. Let's call it a stone for now. And there's usually in a natural bloodstone, if it isn't just the dark green and the dark red, there tends to be like an orangey, yellowy sort of gradient in the center. And I kind of want to see if I can create that effect without making a whole nightmare of it. So we shall see. Once again, a nice big old dose of this phthalo green color. Now I'm going to sit here and scrape out these cups to get this out of here. So far, things that I've learned in painting my all of, what, this is 1.5 now? I think this counts as a half, right? I'm about halfway through. All I gotta do is make a mess with it. So far what I've learned, I do not like silicone cups because there is absolutely no body to them. It's just this little noodly thing that you squish around and hope you can deliver your paint in it, with it. I've also learned that although most of the painters that use floetrol and water say floetrol and a little bit of water, like floetrol does all of the heavy lifting, it doesn't. Water does. So you use a ton less floetrol if you use water. I am a little concerned that I may be thinning it too much with the water, but we'll see how that goes. And I also learned, unfortunately, that floetrol does not go well in a wash bottle, even when it's strained. Ended up having to take off the cap when I thought it would be a nice little squeezy opportunity, but oh well. I will find a squeezy with a bigger hole and a cap to work with on that. We have a very, very, very full cup now. And a small mess, but we're looking to make a controlled mess, right? So here we go. Should I start it up at this top, or? Here we go. Now I'm hesitating. Okay, we'll start and just kind of try to straight pour, ribbon pour, whatever, and get it. This is gonna be pretty messy. Wonder how much that'll spread. I have strangely favored the right side while pouring with my left hand. What does that tell you? I have no idea. Let's see if I can encourage some of this to move around a bit. I think I'm going to lose the concept of lines in this pattern, but I guess I'm okay with that. After all, you do kind of need to let it decide here and there what's going to happen, because paint is a willful thing if you let it off the leash. Here we go, we got up to there. Now bringing it back the other way. Kind of like these little rivers of color going on. I don't know how it's going to survive the swipe, but we'll see. May have to do another one just in these colors and leave it all nice and psychedelic rivery. Okay. I don't know if I should pull it back to this corner. And what I'm hoping for is that when I swipe it with this thinned out red ruby, red ruby, who cares? When I swipe it with this red color, that it will create that little veiny, lacy sort of effect that will look like veins on a stone. I don't know if that'll happen or not. There's every chance that I'll just end up with mud. But we're gonna see. And this is kind of annoying me because it's dripping off other places and not getting right to that edge, but we'll push the paint that way when we swipe it, I guess. Okay, so now I've got this interesting set of colors. If I were actually keeping this, I'd be pretty happy with this section. This is a little bit not mixed, but that's because I got the big old section of that phthalo green in there. There's not much else in that cup that wants to participate. Okay, let's see. Do I have anything else? No, I really scraped these out pretty good. We'll just blop some stuff in there. If we got it, why not? Because it's going to look different when it's swiped over anyway. Whoop, there goes the cup. Cup fainted, cup down, cup down. I'm a weirdo if you haven't noticed that. But it's kind of fun being weird sometimes. Too bad I do it all the time. Very splotchy mess. Okay, now I'll get some of this off my hands with my ever increasingly awful looking rag. Isn't that? Did I mention that there is silicone in this swipe color? This nice sparkly red. Okay, so I'm going to pour it out on my little mat here, just like I did last time. And what I got this time is I've got this little bit of plastic. And this little bit of plastic came from a kit of geometry rulers that I got for doing dot painting. And I am going to dunk the edge in the paint, so. And I am going to try to do a this ways sort of motion. But I'm going to do it this ways instead of that ways because I don't know why. Here we go with one. I'm hoping some of that red will not be quite so red, otherwise I should have done this with the phthalo green instead, because I'd prefer it to be mostly green, as Bloodstone tends to be. Looks like it might be gearing up to be mostly red. So I might have to decide something that's more red than green and call it that instead, right? Let's see if we can cut this down through that hole. Yay! Covered. Whew. A big blob of paint came after me. wipe down on this edge. Like so. Woo! Yes, I am splashing the paint all over. I'm gonna end up stepping on something and tracking it all through the house. I just knew it. Back up through here. Whoop. And take a gentle little swipe through big blocks of color we got. My plastic is becoming very curled. Okay, I'm gonna be coming back through. Let's get a little more of the swipe color here. That's probably too much, but oh well. Got tons of it anyway, so we'll go with that. Let a little bit of this drizzle off because I don't want a ton of the red sitting on there. Like I said. Made it worse. Okay, come through last time. Otherwise it's gonna look funny. I think it's gonna look funny. Maybe it wants to look funny, right? Sometimes you gotta let the paint decide. Okay. I'm gonna call that okay. And then apply a little heat to the situation. Doesn't look like it changes very much when you apply the heat in. When you apply the heat, seeing that the silicone is in swipe color instead of throughout, so it doesn't seem like it develops a lot of cells like I've seen other things do when there's silicone in all the colors. It is absolutely nothing like I had imagined, and I will definitely have to do another one with that phthalo green as the color, as the swipe color instead, just to get that effect that I was looking for, because this looks more like a planet than a bloodstone, but it's still pretty cool. Getting some little cells and stuff coming up here with the yellows and this green over here, and I don't know what's going on with this little thing, but it kind of looks like it might be like one of those storms of Jupiter things. You want to come down and have a look at it? Anyway, we're going to fly down on this red little planet and see what we can see in detail. And why do I suddenly feel like doing a Wayne's World extreme close-up? Maybe I'll have to one of these days. I really like this section where a lot of the colors came through. They're just pulling up cells like crazy. I sort of like the little bit of the black effect. It's probably some of the mixing that I was looking to not get, but I do really like the way that's going. It definitely looks like a planet with a storm. Maybe I'll have to call it Mars or something like that. What do y'all think? Well, I don't think I can call it Bloodstone, but at least I can't call it Christmas either. Not really, anyway. Not quite sure what to call it. Part of me wants to call it the Red Planet, and part of me is really just stuck on that joke about Freddy Krueger. I don't know why. So maybe I'll call it Krueger the Red Planet, huh? Or does that sound too much like a children's book? There are some really nice cells that came up and survived the process. I don't know why it's got that storm thing going on in the middle there where it just kind of smeared and did its own little thing, but things like that will happen, I suppose. So there it is, the Red Planet.